Koby is easily one of the most overlooked characters in One Piece. In a series filled with powerful and larger-than-life characters, among all of the wacky and zany characters in this series, Oda created Koby, who for all intents and purpose, was average in every sense of the word. Oda even went a step further, and made Koby the polar opposite of the main character, Luffy. Whilst Luffy is happy to fight for his dreams, Koby was too afraid to chase his dreams. Whilst Luffy had years of training and a devil fruit, Koby was just an ordinary kid. Whilst Luffy is confident in his abilities, Koby is not, and of course the biggest distinction. Luffy is a pirate, and Koby is a marine. Koby is one of the most important characters in the series, because his ascension through the ranks of the Marines is a direct result of his chance encounter with Luffy, and how the future king of the pirates inspired the future hero of the Marines to chase his dreams. And after 20 years of One Piece, it is finally Koby's time to shine. In this video, I am going to tell you how Oda is preparing Koby for greatness, and how Oda is setting up Luffy and Koby for the next God Valley incident. Let's get started. Whilst we the viewer have witnessed Luffy's journey, all of his challenges, all of his ups and downs, Koby has always been in the background, steadily growing stronger and watching Luffy's ascension through the pirate world from afar. From where Koby started to where he is now, he has grown at an incredible rate. In just a few months, he had become completely unrecognizable to Luffy, and had even mastered one of the 6 power techniques. And after 2 years within the Marines, he acquired even more techniques and learned both armament and observation haki. Koby's rapid growth should not be so surprising, as he has been training his haki just as long as Luffy has over the 2-year time skip. Whilst Luffy was learning haki from one of the greatest haki users in the world, Silver's Rayleigh, Koby was learning from a haki master arguably even better than Luffy's mentor, in Garp. Before the time skip, Oda revealed that Koby had already awakened observation haki during the Marineford War, and not just ordinary observation haki. The rare observation haki first shown by Isa and Skypiea. Oda even doubled down on Koby's observation haki being special, after the Whole Cake Island arc, when Koby sensed a torpedo heading towards the Riku royal family when no one else could. And this is directly after the arc where Oda showed just how powerful observation haki can be at the highest levels. Koby always had the ability to do great things, he just never had the confidence, most recently showcasing his first named attack, utilizing an attack strong enough to completely destroy Avalo Pizarro's arm. But all of Koby's incredible growth might not be from just his hard work alone. Just as Luffy and Ace come from important bloodlines, I believe Koby may also come from an important family. I have already done a video on the possible hidden members of the D-Clan, and why Koby may be a member of the D-Clan. I will link that video in the card above. Koby being a member of the D-Clan would also make him more important during the climax of the series, and help further showcase the parallels between himself and Garp. Harkening back to Garp's rivalry with Roger, recent events in the manga have shown just how important Koby is to the overall story, with Garp storming a Yonko's territory just to save Koby. Even at the age of 78, Garp is still one of the strongest forces the Marines have, with him dominating the Blackbeard pirates by himself. For Garp to willingly sacrifice himself shows just how much potential he sees in his protege, Koby. With the battle at Hachinoso Island in the past, Garp has essentially passed the torch to Koby. Garp has done everything he could to prepare Koby for this moment, and now Koby is ready to make history. In one swift motion, Oda has essentially given Koby his own crew, and his fellow sword members, and also given Koby a deep motivation to defeat the Blackbeard pirates. Koby has to succeed in the future, to ensure that Garp's sacrifice wasn't for nothing, and also for Koby to be the one to prove Aokiji's words wrong, being one of Garp's proteges that doesn't become an enemy in the future. We all know that Luffy is destined to fight Blackbeard in the future, but this fight may not be a 1v1. Just as Roger teamed up with Garp to defeat Sebek in the past, Luffy and Koby may have to team up to defeat Blackbeard. And if you think Luffy and Koby teaming up to defeat Blackbeard is overkill, I have done a video on Blackbeard's possible connection to Sebek and his potential final Devil Fruit. A Devil Fruit and an ability that would make it necessary for Luffy and Koby to team up to defeat Blackbeard. I will put that video in the card above. Best place for this battle to take place would be on Laugh Tale itself. I believe this battle will contrast with the God Valley incident, but unlike the first God Valley incident that was mostly covered up, this incident would be a very public event. Just as the island of God Valley faded from history 38 years ago, the island of Laugh Tale would emerge into the forefront after decades of being hidden. Just as Garp teaming up with Roger was hidden from the world, Koby's alliance with Luffy would be very public. And just as Roger and Garp rescued the Celestial Dragons, these events would trigger the final war, and begin the tearing down of the Celestial Dragons from their homes above the world. Oda has had many very subtle and less subtle similarities between previous arcs and newer arcs, Alabasta and Dressrosa being great examples. Oda has already begun setting the stage for Luffy and Koby to face Blackbeard, to avenge their grandfather and mentor respectively, and this is even more true if Blackbeard defeats Shanks like many fans theorize. From the very beginning, Oda has had Koby's final destination in mind, making Koby's end goal to become a Navy Admiral. With the rank of Admiral and the reputation as a hero within the Marines, Koby would be able to help facilitate lasting change within the world that Luffy could not as a pirate, the same type of change that the revolutionaries want to bring about after they topple the current world government. The Marines will still be around after Luffy finds the One Piece and topples the world government, but they will need people like Koby in leadership positions to bring about proper reformation within the Marines. All of this change coming from Koby's chance encounter with Luffy at the beginning of the series. Koby is easily one of the most important Marines because of what he represents. He represents the Marines at their very best. Not the controversial absolute justice of Akainu, or the questionable lazy justice of Aokiji. Justice that isn't blind, unclear, or even determined, but his own brand of honest justice. The perfect middle ground between the other admirals before him. Always willing to do the right thing and protect the weak, even placing himself in harm's way if he needs to, like a true Marine. With Luffy finding the One Piece and Koby's role as the hero of the Marines, both men will change the world for the better in their own ways. And finally, on the topic of Koby becoming an admiral, some people think that is too far of a jump for Koby to make in such a short time. But Garb said that the potential of youth is limitless. He is absolutely right. We have witnessed this potential time and time again throughout the series. The same Luffy who was slapped around during the Marineford War is the same Luffy who split the skies with Kaido just 2 years later. The same Zoro, who was humiliated by Mihawk at Baratie, is now on the doorsteps of becoming the world's strongest swordsman. Characters who have spent decades honing their skills are being surpassed by fighters less than half their age. During the final saga, Koby will have many opportunities to push himself to the next level, just like he did at Hachinoso Island, bringing him closer to his goal of becoming a Navy Admiral. Koby has already shown incredible use of armament haki, and was already shown to have a special form of observation haki. Considering that Luffy learned Future Sight during his 11-hour fight with Katakuri, Koby could also learn Future Sight, or his own unique form of observation haki in a short amount of time. With his incredible growth, it is very possible that Koby reaches his goal near or by the end of the series. Just as Luffy went from a no-name pirate to a Yonko, and soon to be Pirate King in just 2 years, Koby can achieve his goal within the same time frame, and he will need this level of strength to live up to Garb's expectations, and truly step into his role as the future of the Marines. I believe that just as Luffy and Koby started their respective journeys around the same time, they will achieve their goals around the same time. After Luffy defeats Blackbeard at Laugh Tale and finds the One Piece, he will become the Pirate King. And since Koby will play a key role in an event greater than the God Valley incident, he will be promoted to an Admiral. Garp was offered the promotion to Admiral, but he refused because he did not want to work under the Celestial Dragons. To further contrast with the God Valley incident, Koby will accept the promotion to Admiral after the Celestial Dragons have been removed from power. But this is just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Koby being prepared for greatness, or was this his one moment to shine? Can Koby still become an admiral by the end of the series, or is that too far of a jump for him? Is all of this leading towards Luffy and Koby teaming up to face Blackbeard, or is that too excessive? Let me know what you think. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or a dislike if you didn't, and consider subscribing for more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching.